Good morning. It is Saturday. It's the last weekend in May. And I'm gonna do a readathon because why not? I have a bunch of audiobooks I'm in the middle of. I have a stack of ARCs that I need to get through. It's feeling a little ambitious how many books I think I could read in 48 hours, but I think if I could even make a small dent and like finish up the books that I'm in the middle of and get a solid ways into a couple books, I would be good. I already finished a book this morning, On Dublin Street by Samantha Young. I didn't love it. It had this writing style that I don't particularly like in romance books, where a lot of dialogue happens in the main character's head and not actually through a lot of conversation, where I much prefer a conversation heavy romance book. There was also just a lot of trauma in the background of the main character that was at the very forefront of the book, which I just wasn't really looking for. So I just didn't enjoy it personally. So onwards and upwards. I think I'm gonna start off with Raybearer, or Redemptor, the second book to Raybearer. I'm like 80-ish% of the way through, so I'd really like to finish that this morning. I have some laundry to do and some errands to run, so I'll be probably heavily focusing on the audiobooks that I'm reading in the morning. But yeah, I'll keep you all posted as we go along with this weekend. Starting the day off by finishing Redemptor by Jordan Ifueko. This is the second book to Raybearer, and I obviously don't want to give like major spoilers because it is a sequel, but it picks up pretty much right where the first book left off, and I'm always surprised by how much storytelling Jordan is able to accomplish within what is seemingly a fairly short book. The same thing happened with Raybearer. I remember getting to a certain point and I was like, oh my gosh, there's not that much time left, but so much happened. And I am very pleased. I think my initial impulse is to give this a 4-star rating. There were just a couple areas where I felt like there were one or two too many plot things put in, where I really wish we had focused a little bit more on Tarasai and her journey in this book. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I love Jordan's writing. I truly hope she keeps writing because I will pick up any book that she publishes. So I'm very, very happy. This was one of my most anticipated reads last year. I bought the Illumicrate edition, which is this guy. It came in a box with Raybearer, and I only just got around to reading it now, even though the book came out last summer. So I always do this with anticipated books and sequels. I find sometimes I don't always read them right when they come out. I don't know if it's me preserving myself or wanting to wait a little bit and not let things be over, but I am really, really glad that I finally picked that up. Now I'm gonna hop back into the audiobook of The Ninja Daughter. I'm about 76% done with this one, so I do feel like I will probably finish this book today as well. This is like a mystery thriller and is something that I don't often go for, but I've been wanting to get into thrillers and mysteries, and this is exactly what I've been looking for. It's not a domestic thriller. It's very action-packed, which I personally like. I don't like a lot of psychological stuff. And I'm just having a ball reading it. It's narrated by Natalie Naudis, and I'm convinced that she is only contracted to narrate 5-star reads. So I can't wait. This is also part of a series, which I didn't realize. So I probably won't finish the series immediately after finishing it, because I just have so many other books that I would like to prioritize reading in June specifically. But we'll see. I will probably finish the series by the end of the summer, if anything. So I'm gonna hop back into that and I'll tell you a little bit about it probably later today. The readathon has moved to the road. I'm out shopping, but of course my AirPods died on the train and now I can't reconnect them to my phone. And I didn't bring my wired headphones with me, even though I thought about it. So I might just be reading on the subways in between stores rather than listening to anything. But I just finished The Ninja Daughter by Tori Eldridge, and it was so good. I am back in my apartment. Been putting around for about an hour or so. I just woke up from a nap. I could not keep my eyes open, so I went to lay down. And I am currently reading Stoneheart by Katie Robert. I do want to backtrack and talk about The Ninja Daughter, because I don't know that I would have picked this book up if the audiobook narrator, Natalie Naudis, had not talked about it on her TikTok page. So The Ninja Daughter was one of them. And it is, like I said earlier, it's a mystery thriller. And the main character is Lily. And she also goes by Dumpling. And she's a ninja. And she mainly works to help out women. Her sister was murdered when they were teens, and that has like really fueled her want to protect vulnerable women and women that are put into positions that they kind of are out of their control. And so it follows her, and the first scene is her, you know, kind of in a hostage-ish situation herself, because she kind of got made by a client. And I don't want to give too much away because I didn't know anything going into this book, and I really liked that experience. I know not everybody likes that experience, but you can also read the synopsis online anywhere. And it was just, I thought it was really well done. I don't often pick up thrillers or mysteries. I do prefer mysteries to thrillers, I think, personally, based on my limited experience with those. But there was something about this one. I think it was the amount of action that was happening, as well as just how complex the main character was. Like, she had so much family backstory. She constantly was taking us into her past and like really diving into the reason that she is who she is, and why she does what she does. We got to look at her training, and just I really liked the plot of the book as well. So I'm excited to continue reading the series. I will definitely continue reading the series throughout the summer. And I think it'll be fun to kind of break up my romance and fantasy shtick. I don't know. I read mostly romance and fantasy, so to kind of break those up a little bit, sometimes I feel like I need something else just to keep me engaged with those two genres, like a palate cleanser, if you will. One of the things, because I feel like there have been a couple audiobooks I've read where I found out after the fact that there had been an author's note included in the book and it hadn't been recorded, but the audiobook did have the author's note, and I love author's notes. I'm a sucker for a really good author's note. With this one, Tori talked so much about her own personal experience and how it informed this book, how she trained in martial arts and has a lot of respect for all the different kinds of martial arts. She really went into like her thought process behind how she gave the like skill set to Lily. It's not this like mystical like idea of a ninja. It's like a very, in reality, if someone was practicing this type of martial art, they would be as skilled as this fictional character. And she also goes into like what was kind of fictional and what wasn't, like what is actually real, and then, you know, characters and things like that who were fictionalized. And it was just really fascinating to listen to that after reading the book. I love a good author's note. I love a good author's note. So that was a lot of fun. I am curling up with Stoneheart by Katie Robert. I do think I want to read this evening. I'm staring at a fantasy book that I've been reading since January. It's called The Forest of Ghosts and Bones, and I really liked it. Before I get into that, Stoneheart is a novella in the Dark Olympus series by Katie Robert, and it's between Medusa and Calypso. Medusa is hired by Athena to be a assassin for Calypso, or I guess against Calypso. She has a mark on her, Calypso does, and things will ensue. I love Katie Roberts' writing, and Wicked Beauty comes out in a week. I do think it somehow managed to hit Barnes & Noble shelves early. I saw her make a video about it, but I'm gonna get it the day it's published. Anyway, this fantasy book, The Forest of Ghosts and Bones, it is by Lisa Ludecky. I started it in January and I really liked it. It is about a castle that has a rain around it, and it's deadly. It calls to people in this village that is outside this castle, and if they step into it, they die, except for this one village girl. So we get her perspective throughout the book, and then there's another girl who is a mage from another region in this kingdom, and she is on the run because there has been a edict put out by a king that mages must be sent to him because they're being killed. And at the beginning, I really liked this book. I really liked the pacing of it. And then somewhere in the middle, it really started dragging, and I have found it really difficult to keep up with it. And I just find myself like only reading a chapter here and there, but I do want to finish it because I think the concept is really cool and I don't want to DNF it. So I'm hoping that I can give that its moment this weekend at some point. But because I just woke up from a nap, I would like something that's gonna keep me engaged. I'm also looking at my stack of physical books that I have been sent recently, and this book, The Stand-In by Lily Chu, came out at the beginning of May, and I haven't read it yet, and it is a romance, so I think I'll probably, if I'm gonna start a new book today, it might be this one. So I finished Stoneheart. It's not my favorite Katie Robert book that I've read, and it's definitely not my favorite book in the Dark Olympus series, but it was cute. It was a short little novella, and I felt like it was a good break between what I've been reading and like gravitating towards, because I've been gravitating towards some pretty heavy stuff, which like the world is heavy enough. I don't know why I'm doing that, but that's what's calling to me. I don't know if I'm going to read anything else today because that's now my 4th book that I have finished in a single day. I think that might be a record. I don't think I've ever finished that many books within a single day before. So it's just about 10 o'clock. I want to like get my kitchen cleaned up and get ready for tomorrow. And I'm kind of in the mood to curl up in bed with Heartstopper, the TV show on Netflix. I think my brain might need a break from the reading. So it might be a TV show evening. Not sure if that counts in a readathon, but I think I've read enough for today, to be honest. It was a quite a day full of different types of reading. I finished a romance that was on Dublin Street. Redemptor is a YA fantasy. The Ninja Daughter is a thriller mystery, and then Stoneheart is another romance. The range. I think that is going to be the end of today, but tomorrow I have far less errands to run, and I would really like to get some cleaning done, so I think it's going to be another like back and forth between eyeball reading and audiobook reading, which will be nice. So I will see y'all in the morning. Nothing will change. I'll just be here in the next clip. The readathon is on the road this morning. I'm out for my hot girl walk a little after 8 a.m. And I started a new book before I left. It is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And I don't remember who got this book on my radar. I've had it on hold on Libby for quite a while. and I believe it just came out this month, May. This video is going up in June. It is, on the blurb, it's like a fairy tale romance, perfect for fans of Casey McQuiston and Emily Henry, whose new books I just finished and absolutely devoured, so sign me up. And it's city girl, small town guy, he's a carpenter, so again, it sounds exactly like something I'm in the mood for right now. What else? First chapter, we meet our main character, Alexis. She is in a ditch off the road because she swerved from a raccoon, and she is saved by a man named Daniel and his dog. She also called her best friend while she was in the car, and there's something going on in her love life, whether it's a divorce or a really bad breakup, unsure, but something is happening. It's narrated by Julia Wayland, who is one of my favorite audiobook narrators, and Zachary Weber, who the last book I read that was narrated by him was Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall, and I really like the way he does narration, so I'm excited to have these two narrators together. And that is about it. I'm gonna get back to walking and listening. So I have been cleaning like a fiend listening to this audiobook. I literally can't stop. So I got ready and I'm gonna head to the park and just have a little solo picnic with me, myself, and I, and my book. I'm feeling like I want to finish it. I'm like 66% of the way through, but I also kind of want to pause it for maybe an hour and read something else, because I can't believe I read this book in a day. I can't stop listening to it. I am just devouring it. It's so funny. It is really heartbreaking. There's the main character, Alexis. We found out, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do reading vlogs. The main character, Alexis, was dating somebody, and they were living together. They had bought a house together. They had their life pretty much all wrapped up together. And he cheated on her. And for the public and telling people about that, she was glad that she had that as the reason to tell everyone why she broke up with him and why she left him. But within the breakup, she finally realized that he had been emotionally abusing her their entire relationship, fully gaslighting her and making digs about like her appearance, her capability as a doctor, because that's what she does, and all of this like really mentally and emotionally damaging stuff. So we're constantly going through these like highs with her and a love interest, like their relationship together, how much joy they bring each other, what he thinks about her, because we get a lot of him like in his mind talking about how much admiration he has for Alexis and how he feels like enough people in her life don't tell her that. But then we also go through her kind of abusive relationship between her dad and her abusive relationship with her ex, who has now moved back into her house. And it's just like this big emotional roller coaster of a book, and I can't put it down. It's so good. So I'm gonna take myself out. It's a beautiful day. I'm hoping I can just find a little square of grass somewhere in this city, probably in Central Park. And yeah, that'll be my afternoon. I'm back from being out in the wilderness for like 2 hours. Who is she? Maybe it might be closer to 3, honestly. I don't know. It was a long time to be out there, but it was great. I just sat on a bench and listened to this audiobook. I have 20 minutes left in it. I do this a lot with books I'm enjoying. I'll like stop it 2 chapters before the end to like prolong the ending, like just for 10 minutes. Does anybody else do that? It feels so weird. I love this book. I think if you are looking for spice, you won't find it here, but there's a lot of tension between the main characters, and they talk about the sex they're having. I'll just say it. But there's like one vibey scene and then one kind of like, this is what I would do to you scene. But other than that, they just talk about how good it is with each other. So if you're not into that, might not be for you. If you are into that, check this one out. I definitely think it's worth it. Like, I love me a good spicy scene, but I also enjoy the like relationship and the way it's building and the way they talk about each other. Like, I could see where it could have been built into this book, but I also don't think the book is a lesser romance book because it doesn't have that. And I say that about most of the books that I read that don't have spice. I also actually really like the way it's done, that it's not fade to black, because it's really not. I'm like trying to think through this book that I read today. I personally wouldn't call it fade to black. All right, I'm gonna go finish it. I shed a little tear already, and I'm ready for my soft landing because Abby's putting me through it. Abby is putting my emotions through it right now. It was so good. It was so good. Like, holy moly. That's all I got. That is all I got. It was so good. I think it's like, I don't know why I'm being stingy with 5 stars. I feel like it might be a 5-star read. But there's something that's like, oh, you know what it is? The epilogue killed me. I did not like the epilogue because it was like less than a year from the last chapter, which should not be a reason that the book loses a star. Let's get real. I don't know what I would rate that book, which is why I don't like star ratings. I don't like doing them because it's really hard for me. So instead of star rating that book, I'm going to start a new one, The Queer Principles of Kit Webb. I've had this on my shelf forever. I've been staring at it. It's time for me to get on my Pride TBR. So this is number 1. I'm excited. I've had this for a while. I was sent it by Avon. And I'm pretty upset at myself for not reading it yet. So I have heard that apparently tonight Manhattan Henge is coming, and I think I can kind of see it. So I might throw on the audiobook and run downstairs and see if I can see it. Because why not? Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm like out and about today, doing things. I'm trying to sort of catch it in the background. There it is, Manhattan Henge. It's like the same effect that happens at Stonehenge, but in Manhattan it happens 2 times a year. This year it's happening today and tomorrow, and then 2 dates in July. I think I like just missed it really. I think if I had like been here when I had made that clip, I'm on 72nd Street, by the way. If I had been here when I had made the clip about coming down, I would have caught it. And there's no guarantee that I'll be out tomorrow because I know Danielle and I are recording a podcast episode. Still a really pretty sunset, even if I missed it. So I'm gonna fully end this vlog tomorrow morning when I'm not in bed. But I am reading The Queer Principles of Kit Webb by Kat Sebastian, and I am headed into chapter 10. Unclear how much I will read tonight, but I have been listening to the audiobook thus far, and now I'm switching to the physical book as I prep for bed. The chapters are pretty short and it's going very quickly, so I don't know that I'll stay awake and finish this tonight, but I will definitely get into a significant chunk of it. We'll see. I think my goal would be to at least hit page 100. I'm already on 56. if not get 50% into the book before I go to sleep. So we'll see. And then tomorrow morning I will end this vlog. I'll kind of go through all the books that I read over the last 48 hours, which ones I was in the middle of when I started the readathon, which ones I read beginning to end, my thoughts, if I have star ratings for them, and all of that stuff. And I've done, in case you're interested, I've done a mini version of this on my TikTok. So this is like longer, me telling you more about the plots and thoughts and things like that. At least I hope I've given you that. Where the TikTok is just a little quicker because it has to be. Alrighty. I will see y'all for the wrap up in the morning. Okay, just trying to make this not crooked so I could do my final little wrap up on this readathon 2 days later. Okay, so I feel like really productive. What just came out of my mouth. I read so many books this weekend and it was amazing. I was feeling very overwhelmed by my TBR. I do this thing where I start a bunch of books and I slowly make my way through them, and then all of a sudden I get to like 80% in all of them and I can't decide which one I want to finish. And I feel like putting myself in a little bubble this weekend and just reading what I was in the mood for when I was in the mood for it, specifically focusing on the books that I was currently reading. Anything that had been on my shelf for a really long time or on my Kindle for a really long time, I ended up reading so much. So let's go through it really quick, shall we? So first off, I finished reading On Dublin Street by Samantha Young, and this is a romance novel. It came out in 2015, I think. So this book is American girl who has been living in Edinburgh for many years, is looking for a new roommate, and through a coincidence meets roommate's brother without realizing it. And then he walks in on her getting out of the tub, and thus begins their whirlwind banter fest, because that's really what it felt like. And then they enter into an agreement together that will satisfy both of them. So this was like 2.5, 3 stars for me, in all honesty. I ended up skimming a significant amount of it, which I don't normally do, and I am considering it as read because I do feel like I read it, but I really focused on the romance between the main characters. There was a lot going on between the side characters and interacting with the main character. There was also a lot of backstory with the main character's trauma of losing her parents and sister and best friend all within a year of each other when she was in her teens. And then the book on the whole, I couldn't quite tell what the narrative was, because sometimes it felt like a journal, like reading somebody's journal. So at moments she was talking from the future, like when they do those things where it's like, but I didn't know what was going to happen next, and then she tells you what happened after, as like a series of events unfolds. And then somewhere in like the 50 to 80% range, she starts seeing a therapist. And so the chapter will be going, a bunch of action will happen, and then there's a page break, and then she's in the therapist's office and she has just told the therapist all of that. So at some points it felt like we were a view into her therapy sessions, but that wasn't the whole book. So I couldn't really tell what the storytelling situation was, and that got really confusing. But I did really like the way the relationship played out. The love interest is very possessive, and sometimes that can be fun to read in romance books. So I feel very mixed about that one. Then I finished reading Redemptor by Jordan Ifueko, and I really enjoyed this one. It is a YA fantasy continuation of Raybearer, and it was good. It was really good. I did feel as I was reading it like I did not enjoy it as much as the first one, which I often find a lot of times. I know there are a lot of people that are the opposite, but especially in duologies, sometimes I feel like there are just one too many plot points happening, and I I don't know what I would have wished for. I feel like it fulfilled all the things that I wanted, but it took a little while to get there. Even though the book is really short, like as far as a fantasy novel goes, and Jordan fits so much into it, it's kind of amazing. So it's definitely like a 4.5 for me. Then I finished the audiobook of The Ninja Daughter by Tori Eldridge, read by Natalie Naudus, and I think I raved about it enough on camera, but getting to read a action thriller with a amazingly badass main character. This is one of the very few 5-star thrillers that I have ever read. I think the last one I read was Ace of Spades last year. Then I read beginning to end the novella Stoneheart by Katie Robert, which is part of the Dark Olympus series. It's a story between Medusa and Calypso. And this one kind of fell a little bit flat for me. I'm not gonna lie. I have read a big chunk of Katie's backlist at this point, and something I really commend Katie on is her ability to create an intense amount of character development in her less than 150-page novellas that I have read. And there are so many of her books that I have come out and been like, I care so deeply about these characters. And I did not feel that way about this one. I am not really sure where this fits into the world of Dark Olympus. It definitely felt like a one-off. It was released for free. But I don't know, it just felt a little bit rushed, and Katie does a lot of Insta-love, and I think she does Insta-love pretty well. It is not my favorite thing, and I really have a hard time with it, but this one just did not click for me. And then Sunday, I started a new book, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, read by Julia Whalen and Zachary Weber, and I kind of want to reread it. Which I'm not surprised by. I really liked it. I really liked this romance book. It was so much fun. I definitely want to go back and read Abby's other book that she has out. And this book is billed as, for the 2 comp authors are Casey McQuiston and Emily Henry, that the readers of those authors will enjoy this. And I absolutely agree, especially coming off of Shara Wheeler and Book Lovers. And I read Book Lovers twice already, and I just really like the vibe of both Casey and Emily's writing. They scratch a comfort itch that I have in my brain, and I absolutely felt the same way about Abby's writing. There was something very familiar about it, even though I had never read any of Abby's books. Might come from the fact that Julia Whalen was one of the audiobook narrators, and she is one of my favorite audiobook narrators, but I loved it. I loved it a lot. And then I'll throw this in there, even though I didn't really count yesterday as part of the readathon. I read The Queer Principles of Kit Webb by Kat Sebastian. This has been on my shelf for quite a while. I was sent it by Avon through their influencer program, and it was great. I don't know what I was expecting from it, but we've got Kit Webb, who previously was a highwayman and now runs a coffee shop, and then Percy, who is the son of a duke and is being blackmailed because his father had an illegitimate marriage with his mom and his now stepmom because he married somebody before he married his mom. And so Percy finds out that this guy, Kit Webb, used to be a highwayman, and he thinks that he can hire him to help him rob his father so that he can get a leg up on the blackmailer. And lots of shenanigans unfold between the 2 of them and the side characters. I know the sequel is coming out soon-ish, I think, and I will definitely be checking it out, as well as anything else that Kat puts out, because I really enjoyed her writing. 6 books! I'll extend it to the 72 hours because why not? But 6 books in 72 hours, that is so much. Granted, 3 of them I did not read beginning to end in that 72 hours. I was very close to the end of them, but that's kind of amazing. Wow, I don't know that I've ever read that many books in that short of amount of time ever. So that was really fun. Let me know if you enjoyed this little readathon vlog and if you'd be interested in more of them. Let me know if you watch a lot of these and if there's something that you think I could do to improve them, because obviously this is my first one and I just want to be better at them, but I don't like spoiling books, so I don't really know how. And yeah, that's it. If you liked this video, as always, please be sure to leave a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And down in the comments, I'm going to leave my Beacons page. So if you want to follow me on any of my other social media pages where I also talk about books, you are more than welcome to find me there. All right, I will see you in the next one. Who knows when that's going to be? Maybe I'll get more consistent at posting YouTube videos.